What's up, guys? It's TRT77 again, bringing you my week 2 game of season 4 of the BDL. This week we play Primal, and as you can see, I've got the matchup in front of you, and his team is quite scary. He has Garchomp with Scale Shot, he's got Conkeldurr, he's got Raikou, he's got Aggron Mega, which is a real difficult mon to break, and he's got good defensive utility with Rotom Wash, and he's got Piloswine, which is a reliable rocker. Overall, he's got a really solid team. He's actually got one of the most offensive teams, and I think by nature, Primal is probably one of the most offensive players in this league. So he started off his season with a win as well, and hopefully we can pick up a win here. And based on his team, I think that Tapu Fini actually does really well despite Aggron, because as much as Aggron's quite difficult to break with super effective moves, Aggron is not super specially defensive, and even when it runs specially defensive sets, I think it has a limitation to how much it can cover specially and also be effective in the same game. Another mon I'm looking at in this game that does well here is Pangoro. I think Pangoro, because Pangoro does get the ability Mold Breaker, which ignores Filter, which is the ability that Mega Aggron has that helps it take hits better because it takes less damage from super effective hits. So I think in general his team is not great against Pangoro. Like nothing, CC plus knockoff really does not have a switch in on this team, and that is another mon I think looks very good against this team. Now I considered webs against this team, but considering there's a Talonflame, there's a Rotom Wash, and two of his breakers include Delmise and Conk, which generally don't really care about speed all that much, I genuinely just be bringing speed for Raikou and Garchomp, and I don't know if that's actually worth the team slot. Now, me and Primal have played previously, and the last time we played, he still had Talonflame in that league as well, which was TBA Season 3, and at the time Lantern did really well against him, and I think Lantern does really well against this team as well. However, I feel like he's going to prep for Lantern a little bit more. He's probably going to bring AB Delmise. There's a lot of options he has. So I think more often than not, I think this is one of those times where I feel like I need to fake him out and not bring the mon that he's expecting. And I think that's the case with Victini here as well. I think Victini has a great matchup, but I just want to draw prep towards it and then not bring it, because that's what happens sometimes in draft leagues, is that you can completely bring a mon, even though Victini has a decent matchup. I wouldn't say it has a great matchup, but you can always draw prep to certain mons and then not have to bring them, and then your opponent's left wanting for coverage against your team. And now looking at his team, the next mon I'm looking at is Superior. Now you may ask me, he has a Talonflame, and I'm just gonna reply with, I can break Gale Wings, I can glare it because it's not going to be on the ground, and it can get glared even in misty terrain. And in general, his team just lacks a little bit on the specially defensive side, and +2 Leaf Storms actually hit his team quite hard in general. So I think Superior is a really good mon in this matchup. Now, the obvious glaring weakness in my team generally is how I deal with ground types, because while I have a very good Fizdef mon in Scizor, and then Fini is very bulky, Serp is not too great of a ground switch in, and neither is Aero as an immunity. So having to deal with SD Garchomp is definitely an issue right now, and that's what's going to probably lead me to bring Dusclops. And Dusclops actually does a lot to this team. There's no single mon on this team that kills Dusclops, and it actually does quite a bit of chip between the coverage it gets and between seismic toss, just in general. Now, Dusclops is a passive mon, don't get me wrong, but it's with the moves it's gotten this gen with Poltergeist, it doesn't need to necessarily be it doesn't necessarily just sit there and do no damage. It doesn't necessarily have to be a dual status mon. And lastly, I think my last two mons are going to be Mega Scizor. I think is a shoo-in to come either way, because even though he has a Talonflame, I think Mega Scizor with dual wing beat does well here. Can U-turn around. And the other mon I'm bringing is Nidoking. And now Nidoking is a set I debated. I was thinking of I was between Sheer Force, Life Orb, and Choice Scarf, but I felt like Choice Scarf, if I had gotten a kill on something with, say, Sludge Wave, and then I let Aggron set up, or there's a chance that I let Garchomp set up, and I did not want to give him the free turns in the scenario, especially with Garchomp getting access to Scale Shot. I didn't think it would be worth it for me. So that is where we stand with the team. My 6 that I am bringing are Mega Scizor, Nidoking, Pangoro, Tapu Fini, Serperior, and Dusclops. So here we're jumping into the game, guys. As you can see, the 6 mons that he brought are on the layout. He brought Garchomp, Talonflame, Aggron Mega, Drapion, Oranguru, and Rotom Wash. Now I'm surprised to see no Dhelmise here, but I did prep a lot for Dhelmise, and I have a lot of mons that can kill it. But it was the only thing that really stopped Tapu Fini sweep in my opinion. But I feel like I had ample threats, especially with Nidoking, Mega Scizor, Pangoro. Had ample threats to deal with it and to kill it. And the other mon that I'm looking at here is there's an Oranguru. There's an Oranguru in the 6. I do not know what Oranguru does. It is a psychic and normal type, and it's Pessimian's less talented cousin. But I'm assuming, based on him bringing it here, it's probably a specific check to one of my mons. More likely a specific check to either Tapu Fini or Nidoking. More likely Nidoking, I'd assume, because he does not need much investment to kill Nidoking. But I'm surprised he would bring that, because it probably gives my Scizor free turns of setup. But right now, we're going to jump into this. First up, our leads. I choose to lead with Mega Scizor, and he leads with Talonflame. Now, this is a bad lead for me. I'm not even going to beat it on the bush. This is a bad lead for me. But here, honestly, Scizor is the least important member of my team in this game, because he didn't bring Dhelmise or Conkeldurr. And here, I feel like leading Scizor would have just given me momentum. And should he have chosen not to lead Talonflame, it would have been a really good situation for me. So here, I know he's probably going to U-turn out, because that would be the obvious play, because he knows I'm not going to stay in on Talonflame. So I contemplated U-turning myself to get a slow U-turn off and get momentum. But I feel like it would be a waste of a first turn should I just sack my Scizor to Talonflame here. So as you're going to see, I'm going to hard switch into Dusclops. Takes absolutely nothing from U-turn from Talonflame. And he goes into Drapion. Here, Drapion comes in, and he's going to knock here. He's not going to T-Spike against a team where Nidoking is a direct switch in and absorbs the T-Spike. So he's going to knock Scizor. It does next to nothing, even with it not being Mega. So here, I'm just going to Mega up and U-turn. But what I failed to scout for was the Fire Fang. But Mega Scizor, being as bulky as it is, only takes 54% from a 4 times effective move, albeit not stab. We do get some good chip on Drapion, and now we have information that this Drapion is definitely offensive, and he's probably got a good amount of speed as well, which means he might be outspeeding Nidoking. And now I go straight into Nidoking here. Here I assume he has to switch out, because he can't OHKO Nidoking with anything. I don't think I'm not sure of Earthquake OHKO, but if he had it, this is where I would know. And for me, I've not revealed anything about this Nidoking. I've not revealed whether it could be Scarf, whether it could be faster if he is not Jolly. So I've EV'd this Nidoking is Sheer Force Life Orb Nidoking, and I've EV'd it to outspeed Adamant Drapion. Now, based on the knockoff damage, I couldn't quite tell if he was Adamant. So here, we're going to see if he switches out, and he does. And he goes into Oranguru here, which takes absolutely nothing from that Earth Power. And as you can see here, this Oranguru was definitely brought for Nidoking. It was not brought to be a Trick Room setter or anything special. this is a fully specially defensive leftovers Oranguru, max HP, max speed F. And here Nidoking has to switch out, obviously, because I feel like he's gonna go for a psychic move with no investment that will kill me. Nidoking has not got the best of bulk. So I'm just gonna go into Scizor here, and he predicts me and clicks foul play. Now, you could say this is probably one of those games where Scizor did absolutely nothing, but to be fair, it's given me good information on his team, and I feel like that in and of itself is something, even especially when it's a matchup where Scizor really, like, he didn't bring the mons that I needed Scizor for, so I was not too fussed about losing Scizor here. But here it gives me a free switch into Pangoro, and now Pangoro just gets to come in and claim a kill. So I just want to know, I assumed here at this point, I was just like, he has to pick one. And he goes into Talonflame, and this knock crits and kills Talonflame, which honestly the crit didn't matter because unless he was very bulky, even then it was a roll in my favor because I am adamant Life Orb, but we get flame bodied. Now this is unfortunate. I can't begin to say how unfortunate because now we no longer 2-hit KO Mega Aggron, but it is unfortunate, but this is Pokemon. This is what happens. It was probably my own fault for not setting up Misty Terrain earlier when I maybe had a chance, especially knowing that mons like Scizor and Pangoro, if there's a flame body to get burnt off, they will find a way to get burnt off it. That's half the reason I wanted Tapu Fini with Mega Scizor. So here he's got his pick of switches and he goes into Aggron. And now I'm just going to stay in and CC and try to get off as much damage as possible. And Aggron still takes 40 from Pangoro. Here I assumed he was going to body press and kill me, but he doesn't. So I'm just going to stay in again. I'm faster. I've got speed on this Pangoro. And I'm just going to click CC again. If he chooses to stay in, I'm going to really appreciate this chip. And here he goes into Rotom, and this does so much to Rotom. Pangoro, even burnt, what a beast. And here, I figured he was just going to go into Rotom to pick up momentum here. So I'm just going to click Bullet Punch, which does -3 damage, considering he recovers 3 HP on this turn, just so that he can't Volt Switch out. And Pangoro now dies. It was unfortunate that Pangoro died after getting burned, but it is what it is. We can't always get the hacks in our favor in Pokemon, and it just goes both ways. It's just a game that does have RNG in it. It is what it is. So here I get a free switch into Serp, and here I have the freest Leaf Storm of my life, and we get 20% off on Aggron. Now 20% is a weird roll because I can't tell if it's a mid roll, max roll, or a min roll, because they're all possible depending on the varying amounts of special defense he has on this Aggron. Now Serp obviously goes to +2 because of its contrary ability, and here I get a choice to make. This should be the freest Leaf Storm of my life because it is a roll to kill even if he's very specially defensive. And I there's no one hit that he can kill me with. So I go for the Leaf Storm again, but we miss. We get the 10% miss here. It's unfortunate again, it's Mons, and this is why you should always use 100% accurate moves, but you know, it's not always the case that you get a chance to. And he's going to do a sizable chunk off us with Heavy Slam. So here I'm left with a decision, and I choose to switch out. My reasoning for switching out on that turn was primarily because Serp is my only Mon that I have right now that outspeeds Drapion potentially if he's faster than Nidoking. And I need to kill Drapion if I have to win this game with Fini. And I did not want to risk missing another Leaf Storm or not getting the roll after just getting a 10% miss chance. So I go into Dusclops here. And now Dusclops takes next to nothing from Heavy Slam. I'm just going to S-Toss from now just to get chip. I S-Toss Rotom, get some beautiful chip. I'm just going to keep Dusclops in right now. I do have Pain Split on this Mon, so I can get chip off others, and he gives me chip on Drapion, and now Drapion is in range for a normal unboosted Leaf Storm from Superior, and this is brilliant for me. And here is where I arguably misplay, and I switch into Nidoking, predicting the knockoff. Now the knockoff did not kill Dusclops. I should have stayed in and killed Drapion. But I chose to go into Nidoking here because I feared that I might need Dusclops to take a hit from Aggron at a later point and Pain Split, or take a hit from one of the other mons. And I chose to, this was a rather foolish move on my part, which did cost me differential. And here Nidoking comes in, Nidoking gets knocked off, and now we're gonna find out if he's jolly, and he is. And he has Aqua Tail instead of Earthquake, which I'm assuming is for Aerodactyl, and that was really good tech on his part. So here, I'm just gonna go straight into Serp. Leaf Storm kills, guaranteed. Because based on his damage and the fact that now we know for sure he's jolly, he is 100% going to die to this Leaf Storm. And even though now we're coming back from 3-5 down, and we do have our Superior at 45, we have Finny at full, we have Dusclops at half, I still feel like I'm in a very good position in this game. Because right now, again, we have a chance to sweep here if Garchomp is not Scarf Outrage. So here he goes into Aggron, and this is again another misplay that I made. I choose to switch out here instead of chancing the roll. Whereas if I chance the roll here and I do get the roll on Aggron, then I just sweep. If he's not Scarf Outrage on Garchomp. And if he's Scarf Outrage on Garchomp, then Finny just wins. So at this point, I chose to switch into Dusclops, which was a bad move because now it gets 2-hit KO'd by Heavy Slam. And here you're going to see Dusclops go down. And now again, you're going to look at me and be like, this is a tough situation. I have 2 Mons left. Do I have enough on the board right now to take out his team? But here we're going to go Tapu Fini. Now this Fini has got a really unique spread. And the main thing for me was here that even if he clicked Heavy Slam and he was adamant max attack, after Leftovers recovery, I do not get killed by Garchomp, even if he is Life Orb. But the only Chomp at that point that OHKOs me is Banded Chomp. And Banded Chomp then lets me get to +2 with Superior, and then I just win with Superior provided I hit the Leaf Storms. So here he switches out and I go for the Calm Mind. And now this is a great position for me because I know that Rotom here is not going to be able to two-shot me or even get me close to 2-hit KO range. And here he is going to Volt Switch, which shows us that he's a completely defensive Rotom Wash. He is not, or especially defensive Rotom Wash, he's not got a whole lot of offensive investment. And here, I'm just going to get the Draining Kiss off because I just assumed he was going to T-Bolt. And we get a huge chunk off Garchomp. And this is absolutely fantastic. It could not be better because we have now got Garchomp in Draining Kiss range. We, of course, do take the rough skin damage. But now we're going to see the item on Chomp and we don't see an item. So he's probably Scarf, or Band, or Life Orb. But we're going to find out this turn. And he does 60. And that tells me, and we see him take the recoil, and he is Life Orb Garchomp. But here, we're just going to be able to Draining Kiss all our health back, and we're back to 62, but with the Rough Skin and Lefties, we're back to 56. Here he goes Oranguru. Now, I've got, again, this is a unique Fini spread, but it's definitely got speed as well, to outspeed Oranguru at least. And I get a second Calm Mind off. And he goes for the Taunt. Now, this tells me that now I was confused by this play honestly because I assumed he was gonna have T-Bolt just to hit me, and now I can just recover off him. And so here I first choose to go for Moonblast here because I thought, you know, this Moonblast was a roll to 2-hit KO, and I thought, okay, let's just go for the damage here. But then he's gonna go for the Thunderbolt and he crits Thunderbolt. Now this was terrifying for me during the game, and I genuinely, I didn't know what to think at this moment. And so here, I'm going to go for the Draining Kiss. And you're going to see that it does an awful, not a lot. It does, not that much. But we get a lot of good recovery back. And with Leftovers, we're back to 41. still in crit range though. But now after this draining kiss, we are out of crit range and we get recovery. We're back to 54. And here, even though taunts ended, I'm just going to draining kiss again just to get that health back. We're back all the way to 73, and Tapu Fini on its own has turned this game around. And this has led to a complete resurgence right now on this team. We're back to 2-2, and he chooses to go Aggron here. Now, I'm not worried about this because we're faster than Aggron. We've seen that he's slower than Pangoro. And the other thing was that even as long as I was at +1 Surf, even if he was max special defense plus special defense nature with my EV spread, Surf was around 93% to Oko at 40. So the min roll was 39.6. So here I'm at +2 Surf, guaranteed kills. I am just going to click Surf and Aggron goes down. Now, his last Pokemon remaining is Rotom Wash, which we saw earlier does not have a whole lot of offensive investment. So here he's going to go for the Volt Switch, and Tapu Fini is going to Moonblast and bring this one home for us. A 2-0 victory. Could have definitely been more, could have definitely been a situation that was probably a little more difficult to deal with. I feel like I was my own biggest enemy in this game, even though I got the Flame Body, Burn, the Leaf Storm, Miss, and the T-Bolt crit didn't really matter, to be honest. We did crit his Talonflame too, but even though those were factors in this game, I feel like I was my own worst enemy in this game, and I made plays with Serperior that were overcautious, and especially the second time around when I was +2 in front of Aggron, I should have probably taken that risk there because that just won me the game if I got that roll. And then if I had kept Dusclops in on Drapion, would have probably been again a more favorable situation for me. But in the end, Tapu Fini brings it home with 4 kills, and Tapu Fini is now the kill leader in the BDL with 7 kills and 0 deaths across 2 weeks. Who knew in a team with Victini and Mega Scizor and Nidoking and Pangoro, Tapu Fini would be the one that comes out and claims kill leader. And this was a really good game. GG to Primal. It's always fun playing him, and it's always a good time playing him. I don't think we've ever had a game that's not been close, and this was a great game as well. I will leave the link to his channel in the description. He has got a Soul Link series with Bubba, the commissioner of the BDL, and y'all should check that out. It's really fun. This has been TRT, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.